Oh my goodness. I have seen the light. People of the internet, my hope for this game just went through the roof. There are so many insane story details, gameplay details, and just epic moments in general that I have no doubt fans are going to have plenty to talk about from now all the way up to the game's launch on May 12th. And so for this video, I'd like to focus specifically on 10 details I noticed that will have a direct impact on gameplay in Tears of the Kingdom, starting with the Sheikah Slate, because it actually looks like it's coming back. However, it seems like it's going to be in a different capacity than what fans will remember from Breath of the Wild. If you missed it, you can spot it during the scene when Link is riding the elevator up, you know, the one where it sounds like they're saying, "the future." Seriously, cannot unhear this now. Up until this point, we hadn't seen Link using the Sheikah Slate in any of the trailers, despite the fact that it played such an important role in the first game. It's how you access the map, which then enabled you to place markers and waypoints. You could use it as a scope to zoom in on things in the world. And of course, it's how Link was able to use all of the rune abilities he had access to in Breath of the Wild, such as Magnesis and the others. In the previous gameplay demonstration for Tears of the Kingdom, we saw 4 new abilities, but none of them were controlled with anything like a Sheikah Slate. Instead, they were all controlled by Link's modified right arm. Is it a Zonai arm? Is that mysterious green force powering it? Who knows? But as for the Sheikah Slate, it appears to be tethered to the elevator and the winch that you can see here. And since we don't see it anywhere else, should we presume that we'll only have access to the slate when it's in these elevators? Or maybe we only have access to the slate during certain portions of the game, maybe we lose it and have to find it again. Still, so many questions, but we now know it is back, at least in some form. And speaking of coming back, I think that this latest trailer shows there's a really good chance dungeons are making a return in Tears of the Kingdom. All right, so let's call attention to a few moments in the trailer. First, this one in the desert where we see this massive structure rising up from the sand. Now, I believe this area we're looking at is just to the east of the Arbiter's grounds that we know from Breath of the Wild. And to me, this just seems way too big for something like a shrine. I mean, for a sense of scale here, look at the size of it compared to that little green swirl building that we've seen in the other trailers. We thought those had the potential to be shrines, and this is just enormous in comparison. All right, I know, not convinced yet. That's not all. Just a bit later in the trailer, we have 2 more scenes that I think are highly likely to be inside Death Mountain. And of course, as longtime fans will know, Death Mountain has been used plenty of times before as a location for a dungeon throughout the history of Zelda games. So right here, we can see Link wearing the Flamebreaker armor set. You've got lava falling down on either side, what looks like a bridge over here, and then some platforms over here where it looks as if we can make our way even further into the mountain. And then just a bit later, I think we get one more shot actually inside, and this is the one where Link is riding the mining cart, doing battle against the construct enemy here. Still wearing Flamebreaker armor, we can still see the lava. The whole area looks very much like we are in the mining section of Death Mountain. You could even see a Goron symbol on the cart here. I think we're pretty spot on with the location. The biggest question that remains is whether or not it's a true dungeon like what we've seen in previous Zelda games. Maybe it's wishful thinking on my part, but I personally think this area looks vast enough and significant enough. We can see so many different little sections here to where I think we can say this has a decent shot. What do you think? 50-50 of being a traditional Zelda dungeon, which is certainly more than we had seen up to this point when it comes to this game. Now, speaking of those carts though, Nintendo showed off quite a few more examples in this trailer of Link's new abilities and how they'll affect gameplay. Remember those powered fans from the gameplay demonstration? Well, you can see them here in that very same mining area. Each cart has one on the back, and we can presume, I think, that this will require battery power just like the others. It's important to remember Nintendo usually disables all HUD elements in the trailer, so that's probably why we're not seeing them here. Now, a bit later in the trailer, we see a different type of cart, not a mining cart, but a cart that's being drawn by a horse with Link riding. This one is super interesting because it looks as if we'll need to find all 4 of these wheels for the cart. You can see the green glue, magic, force, Zonai energy. Do we have a name for this stuff yet? Anybody? There's an additional Ultrahand point here, enabling Link and his horse to actually pull the cart along and transport the people here. How cool is that? Maybe this is a side mission or even a main mission, because it certainly seems like NPCs and all the townspeople are going to be playing a much bigger role this time. And that leads perfectly into our next gameplay detail, because these townspeople, it seems like they and the other NPCs are going to be playing a much more important role in this game. We can see them here as Link is riding in. They're fighting back, they are using whatever they have to defend themselves, they're organizing, working together, and just generally trying to defend their territory. You can see over here where they've attempted to fortify the walls with this wood and these spikes. I'm sure there's a technical name that somebody in the comments will correct me on. There's also a separate shot later in the trailer that shows a group with just regular townsfolk in addition to a Goron, a Gerudo, and this person who definitely looks like they could hold their own in battle. Oh, and we can't forget Bucketman here, future king of Hyrule right here. But a big focus of this trailer overall is that it really seems to highlight everyone coming together to try and save Hyrule. It's not just the townspeople though. We do see other moments with fan favorite characters like Sidon here actually fighting alongside us in battle. Of course, we had the champions in Breath of the Wild, but this trailer really seemed to highlight gameplay sections featuring companions with them fighting directly alongside us. I mean, you can see he is impacting this battle here. There's even a voice in the trailer, actually not sure who it is that's saying this, definitely not the same voice as Zelda, but they say,
"But you are not alone."
And I really like this. I think it's going to be interesting to see how much they actually lean into this in the final game. Of course, you already know Link is the hero. It's pretty much going to come down to him and Zelda, but I love seeing more characters step up and hopefully play a key role in the story. And oh man, the story. So many things I want to say. Stay tuned for a future video. Gotta stay focused here on the gameplay. Fuse. Oh man, we got to talk about Fuse. We highlighted Ultrahand already and some additional uses for it earlier in the video, but it looks like Fuse is going to be just as important. Let's be honest, we all knew from the moment they showed this ability, there were going to be a ridiculous number of insane creations, unexpected combinations that people would be able to create. So Nintendo, they're like, okay, we'll show you just a few more of them here in this trailer, starting with the fact that apparently you can fuse a shield to a sword. I believe we have a Royal Claymore here fused with a Royal Shield. And this time we can see Link taking on two of the construct enemies on what appears to be a sky island. And not only does he use this fused creation to deflect the attack, you can see it actually breaks the sword of the construct enemy. I've watched this trailer so many times, guys. This is one of those that I didn't even catch until the very last moment editing this video. I was watching frame by frame. And when he's going in for the strike here, you can clearly see this stone sword. But then after the strike, you get the flash there. And then when he pulls back, look, no more sword. So the question here, what is the benefit of this fused sword and shield? How is it different from just holding the shield in your left hand? Does it make the enemy's weapon more likely to break, as we see here? We already know that the fused weapons on Link's side will get both stronger and more durable. And they did show us the Puff Shroom in the gameplay demo that was fused to the shield, but I never even considered the possibility of a shield fusing to a sword. Like, what happens after this moment right here? Does Link just bash him over the head with the shield? Sword shield? Shield sword? That wasn't all for Fuse though. We also saw Link fusing his shield to a rocket. That's right, a rocket. In a Zelda game, and in this instance he's using it as a traversal mechanic on what I'm pretty sure is Eventide Island, again powered by that green energy. Oh, and we get to see fire arrows in this one as well, as Link uses a ruby, I think, to form one right here. I guess it could also be a bomb arrow, but definitely looks more like a regular fire arrow to me. And I do think this also confirms one of my suspicions after watching that first gameplay demo. If you remember when they showed the white chew jelly forming the ice arrow, they did not say that that is the only item that can create an ice arrow. They actually just said if you fuse an ice elemental material to an arrow. So I think you'll probably be able to use the red chew jelly to form fire arrows in addition to the rubies. Maybe the rarer the item, the stronger the arrow. Again, just so many possibilities here. Oh, the possibilities, you guys, because apparently Link can build his own freaking mech now. We had already seen that Stone Talos with the Bokoblin enemy camp traveling along for the ride, but thanks to Ultrahand, it looks like Link will have the ability to make his very own portable siege tower to combat them. Okay, there's so much going on in this incredibly brief shot here. So many questions. Are these random stone pieces found throughout the world, or was this a column from something else that he just glued on the hands here? Actually, wait, this looks more like some sort of arm cannon on the right. Then you have these wheels on the bottom, much bigger than the wheels that were used before on that horse-drawn cart. On top, you also have Link using this steering mechanism, so we'll actually be piloting this thing ourselves. And then on the left side here, I can't tell if that's just the other piece of stone I'm seeing, or if there's actually another glued item on the left side, maybe another cannon. Actually, I think it's just the other piece of stone. But who knows, could be a cannon over there too. I just keep thinking about all these creations we've seen so far, and now considering this, I mean, can we glue these cannons to any vehicle? Can we have a flying vehicle with just like multiple cannons fused to the side? Or wait, it's Ultrahand now, right? I'm gonna get those two confused so much. All right, so far we focused on abilities that were already announced, and this trailer just showed us new uses for them, but now let's take a look at a few gameplay details that are completely new in this trailer, starting with these zero gravity jumps. Now, my guess here is that this is some sort of timed effect that Link activates through the environment, maybe from a potion. I do think it's something that he activates on his way up here. Maybe he passes through some sort of force field or activates a power-up. You know, it could even be tied to the platform itself. If you look at the coloration here, yep, you see it, right? More of the green stuff, and they look as if they're sort of pulsing on and off. They'll glow green for a moment and then turn gray, then green again. If you look at just Link though, I'm not seeing any indication that he has used some sort of power. So I don't think it's an ability tied to the arm like Fuse and Ultrahand. Definitely seems to be more of an environmental thing that we activate. Okay, hold on, wait. In that same shot, look over here to the left, you can see these floating bubbles with that green center. Pretty sure these are the very same bubbles that Link jumps into just a bit earlier in the trailer. We can see they sort of emerge from this platform, then Link jumps inside and he's sort of just floating, swimming maybe. Definitely looks like water here. All right, I'm forming a theory here. My guess is that we have a limited amount of time after being inside these bubbles that this zero gravity effect will hold. So jump in the bubbles, then they transport you, then you have to jump out, and then, I don't know, for 10, 15 seconds, you have this sort of zero gravity jump effect. So on the opposite side of zero gravity, we also have to talk about Link's new wingsuit. Paragliding, sure, yeah, it's in the game. It's going to be fun, but a full-on wingsuit, this is going to be incredible. It's a very quick section of the trailer. We only see it for a brief moment, but Link is using this suit here to fall through the tunnel. Notice you'll see him use it here to actually slow down and avoid the red lasers, which now that I'm looking at this again, is this going down into Death Mountain? Is this actually how we get inside the mountain? You know, maybe he dove from a sky island that was just overhead. I'm just hoping this isn't like a one-time scripted thing. Hopefully there are plenty of uses for the wingsuit in the game. You know, with such a huge focus in all of the trailers on these sky islands and all the new traversal mechanics to get to and from them, hopefully it's a safe bet to say that the wingsuit is going to get put to very good use in Tears of the Kingdom. And finally, we have to talk about the elephant in the room, because there are some absolutely massive enemies in this game. Are they just world bosses, dungeon bosses, all of the above? Because we got to look at so many epic, just huge enemies in this game. There's this ice tarantula, centipede thing, a brand new construct enemy that's enormous in size compared to the others that we've seen so far. And then of course, the three-headed fire dragon that has to be the return of Glia, which we saw briefly in a previous trailer, but from much further away. Now he's up close and personal, and just look at the size of this thing. I can't wait to see how we're gonna take him down. And yeah, the big bad himself, Ganondorf. You knew I couldn't end it without talking about him, right? He's back, and this model looks absolutely incredible. Maybe he's not as massive as the other enemies, at least in physical size, but he is absolutely just as imposing. I love this version of Ganondorf, you guys. There were so many epic moments in this trailer. In fact, I think in my next video, I'm just gonna have to solely focus on epic moments in this trailer. I'll link it here on the right side of the screen when it's ready. What was your favorite part of the new trailer? Let me know in the comments, guys. As always, thank you all so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.